This is my prime example of people that's puppet masters trying to control the narrative.
It now appears if she wants to run for supervisor again, it will have to be
Tiffany Henyard, once the self-proclaimed super mayor of Dalton, Illinois, is watching her political empire crumble before her eyes. Once a dominant and controversial figure, Henyard now finds herself at the center of mounting scandals, facing allegations of extravagant spending and questionable leadership decisions. What was once a carefully crafted image of power and control is now unraveling, leaving even her most loyal supporters in shock. As her career spirals downward, the question remains, could this be the dramatic downfall of one of Illinois' most polarizing political figures? Buckle up, because this story is about to be rewritten. The latest blow to Henyard's political standing came during a historic and highly contentious Democratic caucus in Thornton Township. In an unprecedented move, the party opted for a caucus instead of a traditional primary election to determine its nominees, significantly raising the stakes. Henyard, who currently serves as both Thornton Township Supervisor and Mayor of Dalton, aimed to secure her spot on the 2024 election ballot. However, in a stunning twist, her candidacy was deemed invalid after she failed to present a full slate of candidates, including essential positions like assessor and trustee. Without a certified assessor on her ticket, she was completely barred from the ballot. Furious at the decision, Henyard accused her opponents of foul play. The caucus itself was chaotic, with hundreds gathering in the cold outside the Homewood Flossmoor Park District Auditorium to witness the political showdown. Inside, tensions ran high as State Senator Napoleon Harris, who also serves as the Thornton Township Democratic Committeeman, expertly orchestrated the event. Harris, who ran for the supervisor role himself, secured the Democratic nomination, effectively pushing Henyard out of the race. When the results were announced, the crowd erupted, not in applause for Harris, but in loud jeers and taunts directed at Henyard. Some even mockingly chanted, "Nah, nah, hey, hey, kiss her goodbye," turning the night into the ultimate political humiliation for Henyard.
Democratic caucus works right here in Thornton Township. You can also say that she flunked out because her name is not appearing on.
The latest setback in Tiffany Henyard's political career unfolded during a historic and highly contentious Democratic caucus for Thornton Township. In a major shift, the party opted for a caucus instead of a primary election for the first time in decades, significantly raising the stakes. Henyard, who currently serves as both Thornton Township Supervisor and Mayor of Dalton, had hoped to secure her place on the 2024 election ballot. However, in a dramatic twist, her candidacy was completely invalidated after she failed to present a full slate of candidates, an essential requirement that included roles such as assessor and trustee. Without a certified assessor on her ticket, Henyard was barred from the ballot, leaving her outraged and accusing her opponents of foul play. The caucus itself was chaotic, with hundreds of residents braving the cold to gather at the Homewood Flossmoor Park District Auditorium, eager to witness the political showdown. Inside, tensions ran high as State Senator Napoleon Harris, a prominent politician and Thornton Township Democratic Committeeman, meticulously oversaw the proceedings. Harris, who also vied for the supervisor position, secured the Democratic nomination, effectively eliminating Henyard from the race. When the results were announced, the reaction was swift and unforgiving, not one of celebration for Harris, but a resounding rejection of Henyard. The crowd erupted into jeers and taunts, with some mockingly chanting, "Nah, nah, hey, hey, kiss her goodbye." What was meant to be a defining moment in Henyard's political journey instead became an unmistakable public humiliation, leaving her reeling from a defeat she never anticipated. Mayor Tiffany Henyard's latest political defeat was more than just a setback. It was a stinging public humiliation that further deepened the turmoil surrounding her leadership. The loss sent shockwaves through Dalton, fueling widespread frustration and intensifying criticism from both political opponents and everyday residents. Almost immediately, Henyard's critics seized the moment, pointing to this latest failure as yet another glaring example of her unraveling leadership and continued missteps in office. Social media erupted with outrage, reflecting the growing discontent among voters. One disgruntled resident urged, "Dalton, please vote as early as you can. Everyone vote. Make it too big to rig. Get her out of there." Encapsulating the collective anger brewing in the community. Another resident bluntly remarked, money and power corrupt. The more power, the more corruption. Summing up the perception that Henyard's leadership had drifted far from the needs of the people she was elected to serve. The fallout from this loss underscored the widening rift between Henyard and her electorate, many of whom have grown disillusioned by her time in office. Allegations of financial mismanagement, reckless spending, and self-serving decisions have reinforced the belief that her leadership prioritizes personal gain over public service. Concerns over the misuse of taxpayer funds have become a rallying point, with critics highlighting extravagant expenditures such as her controversial $43,000 Amazon shopping spree, taxpayer-funded luxury trips, and an apparent obsession with self-promotion rather than addressing the town's pressing issues. The sense of betrayal among residents has only deepened as the Biden administration faces mounting scrutiny, including an ongoing FBI investigation into the alleged misuse of funds. This latest political blow has further eroded Henyard's standing, with many now seeing her as an out-of-touch leader more focused on consolidating power than serving her community. Her public persona as the self-proclaimed supermayor and her combative approach toward town trustees and residents have only fueled accusations of arrogance and entitlement. The dissatisfaction isn't confined to online criticism. It's evident on the streets of Dalton, where residents are grappling with deteriorating public services, a ballooning budget deficit, and a growing mistrust in local government. Calls for accountability and change have grown louder, with many viewing this as a crucial moment to reclaim their town's future. Henyard's loss has not only emboldened her critics, but also galvanized voters determined to bring new leadership to Dalton, marking a potential turning point in the town's political landscape.
Calls for a change at the top in South Suburban Dalton.
Of course, we are talking about Mayor.
To fully grasp the dramatic downfall of Mayor Tiffany Henyard, one must revisit her earlier days when she was hailed as a rising star in local politics. Henyard meticulously cultivated an image of invincibility, branding herself as the super mayor, a leader capable of seamlessly balancing the demanding roles of both Dalton's mayor and Thornton Township supervisor. This dual position granted her immense control and influence, but also made her a prime target for critics who soon began to question her motives and methods. Allegations that she prioritized personal gain over public service started to surface, and her once sterling reputation began to crumble under mounting accusations of embezzlement, misuse of taxpayer funds, and reckless spending. The controversy surrounding Henyard quickly spiraled, with one of the most glaring issues being her alleged extravagant use of public money. Reports detailed a lavish lifestyle funded by the very taxpayers she had sworn to serve. Luxury trips, extravagant dinners, and even personal beauty services, all allegedly charged to public accounts. Outrage among Dalton residents grew as these revelations painted a stark contrast between their daily struggles and their mayor's opulent indulgences. Perhaps the most shocking revelation was Henyard's alleged $33,000 Amazon spending spree. In a single day, an astronomical figure that left many questioning her judgment and ethics. For a town with a median income of just over $24,000, such spending wasn't just inappropriate. It was a direct insult to residents struggling to make ends meet. One disheartened local summed up the community's frustration, voicing the growing sentiment of betrayal. As these allegations mounted, Henyard's carefully crafted supermayor persona began to unravel. Critics pointed out that her leadership seemed more focused on self-promotion and personal extravagance than on addressing the urgent needs of her community. Beyond her excessive spending, her administration became plagued by scandals, including questionable financial decisions, a glaring lack of transparency, and a perceived disregard for the very people she was elected to serve. The dual roles that once symbolized her ambition and capability ultimately became evidence of her overreach and mismanagement, painting a picture of a politician who had spread herself too thin. As public trust eroded and the walls closed in, Henyard's fall from grace seemed almost inevitable, leaving behind a legacy of broken promises, unanswered questions, and a community desperate for change.
Mayor Henyard to arrive. We'll give another 5 minutes.
Mayor Tiffany Henyard delayed the meeting with no.
The financial missteps of Mayor Tiffany Henyard continued to escalate, further exposing the severity of her administration's shortcomings. A preliminary investigation, led by former Chicago Mayor Lori Lightfoot, who was brought in as a special-led investigator, uncovered the alarming deterioration of Dalton, Illinois' financial health under Henyard's leadership. Once boasting a general fund surplus of over $5 million in 2022, the village had shockingly plunged into a nearly $4 million deficit by mid-2024. Lightfoot, in her assessment, did not hold back, describing the fiscal outlook as nothing short of dire.